I wasn't planning on sharing this with you, but I will tell you how we run our Seder. If you're invited to our Seder, you have to do work. You get an assignment before you come. You usually get the invitations out 3 weeks, 4 weeks beforehand. And each person is given a section. So you come, you're given Manishtana. You come, you're given the 4 sons. You come, you're given the 10 plagues. And you can make any presentation that you want. In other words, you're not listening to me. It's not frontal learning. Frontal learning, I have teachers here. Is frontal learning the most effective learning? What we're doing right now is not the most effective learning. If you participate, that's the most effective learning. So everybody comes with a different presentation. And we've had fantastic presentations over the years. From artwork, to poetry, to games, different types of games people present. I do a tic-tac-toe game every year. A different tic-tac-toe game. We divide up the table and we see who can win. And there's questions, both legal questions and Haggadah questions from the Muskin. Bottom line, you got to participate. You can't sit there and really feel that you've gone through the experience. You just sit there and you, like you said, drink when you're told to drink, eat when you're told to eat. You can't do that. So if you really want to be involved in your Seder, it's up to you. Which leads me to a few more points that I want to share with you. So right after Avadim Hayinu, we go to, pretty soon right after, we go to the 4 sons. How do we introduce the 4 sons? Baruch HaMakom, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shenatan Torah. Baruch HaMakom, blessed is the omnipresent, the one who's everywhere. I would have thought we should have called God HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Avadim Hayinu, the Torah calls him the Almighty Creator of the world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the one who owns the world. Why don't we call him that name? Why do we call him Makom? And here we go back to the point I was making before. Makom means everywhere, the omnipresent, the one who's everywhere. HaKadosh Baruch Hu suggests the only relationship you can have with God is if you're holy. Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One. Blessed be He. And what if I'm not holy? What if I'm one of the one of the 4 sons is called the Rasha, the wicked one? Do I not have a relationship with the Almighty? Is anybody excluded at the Seder table? And the answer is no. Nobody is excluded at the Seder table because we all have a relationship with the Almighty. And that's why we chose the word Makom, because Makom is all-inclusive. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is an expression of, if I'm personally holy, I can have a relationship with the Almighty. Nobody should be excluded at all from the Seder. Which leads us to the next point. All this one very important idea. Chayav Adam Lirot et Atzmo, at the end of Magid, at the end of the storytelling, before we sit down and start eating matzah, maror, shulchan aruch, before we do all of that, we say a statement. Chayav Adam Lirot et Atzmo ki ilu hu yatsa miMitzrayim. Every person is obligated to feel as if he or she left Egypt. You said the whole story. In that whole story, is anybody missing from that story that I would have expected in the Haggadah? Anybody missing? Is anybody missing in your Haggadah? Where's Moshe? Is he mentioned in the Haggadah? Where's Aharon, his brother? Where's his sister Miriam? Moshe certainly should be mentioned in the Haggadah. Why isn't Moshe mentioned in the Haggadah? He's the one who was the architect of the whole Exodus. I think he deserves a shout-out. He doesn't get a shout-out. He's not mentioned. Why not? Why isn't he mentioned? He's not mentioned because, guess what? Moshe is no more important than you and I on Seder night. We're all equal on Seder night. Everybody is equal. And if we mention Moshe, we would say, oh, he was responsible. Oh, he deserved to get out, but not me, not you. So Moshe is totally not mentioned. So how do I do this? I'm obligated to see myself as if I went out of Egypt. The one way is you don't see this whole experience as a historic experience. Yes, of course, there's history. But it didn't end in a historic moment. The whole experience of Seder night And the Jewish people have contributed this to the world. Our contribution has been, among many, but one of the most important, is the concept of memory. We taught the world one word, Zayin Chaf Resh, which means to remember. We've taught the world that memory is a religious obligation. No other religion has memory as a religious obligation. We have memory as a religious obligation. Why? Because my memory creates my identity. And when I have my identity and I don't feel it's just a historic moment, but rather I feel I was taken out. I don't tell a story about someone else, but I'm telling a story about myself. Then I really, really experience the evening. In particular, if you have any Holocaust survivors at your table, ask them to tell you stories. They know what Yetziat Mitzrayim was all about. They really know. If you have anybody who's ever been accosted, I was held up with a gun on a Friday night. I can tell you what it's like. It's pretty scary. Pretty scary. I was crazy. I jumped for the gun. But true story. But that's for another time. What? But anybody, I did. On. Yes, right by my house. But that's a whole different story. You don't need to hear about it.
Everyone used to be a dangerous neighborhood.
I know what a survival experience really is. If you've ever experienced that, and you, for a moment there, think that maybe it's the end, and you survive, you can tell the story. So go around the table and ask people. Tell me, how do you feel today? What experience did you have that makes you understand what it's really like to be free? What it was really like to not be free, to be a slave, and what's really like to be free. When you do that, then you've experienced the Chayav Adam L'Rotes Atzmo Ki'ilu Hu Yatsa Mitzrayim.